How did a nation that transformed Europe in just decades collapse into defeat, revolution, and uncertainty? Could the German Empire's power fail almost overnight? The German Empire, founded in 1871 under Kaiser Wilhelm I, represented the unification of numerous independent German states into a single, industrialized, and militarized nation. Forged in the aftermath of the Franco-Prussian War, it quickly became one of Europe's dominant powers. Germany's economy boomed, fueled by industrialization, scientific advancement, and rapid urban growth. The army and navy were modernized, creating a military capable of challenging long-established powers like Britain, France, and Russia. On the surface, the empire appeared unassailable, prosperous, disciplined, and strategically positioned. Yet beneath the veneer of strength, vulnerabilities were growing that would eventually lead to its collapse. Politically, the German Empire was an autocracy masked by constitutional institutions, while the Kaiser held supreme authority. There were elected bodies like the Reichstag, which had limited power to influence policy. This imbalance created tension between democratic ideals and autocratic governance. Additionally, social unrest brewed across the empire as workers demanded better wages, labor protections, and political representation. Industrial cities experienced rapid growth, but also overcrowding, poor sanitation, and frequent strikes. These social pressures highlighted that internal cohesion was not guaranteed. Even in a state that projected such formidable military and economic power, the first cracks in German dominance appeared in its foreign policy. The Kaiser's aggressive stance, naval expansion, and desire for colonial acquisitions created tension with Britain, France, and other European powers. Alliances shifted, rivalries intensified, and Germany became increasingly isolated diplomatically. Militarism and nationalism drove policy, leaving little room for compromise or strategic patience. The buildup of tensions, particularly in the Balkans, created an environment where a single spark could ignite widespread conflictive vulnerability that would have catastrophic consequences. World War I proved to be the ultimate test of the German Empire's resilience. Initially, Germany's military strategies, including the Schlieffen Plan, promised rapid victory. Early successes in Belgium and France suggested that Germany could dominate the continent. Yet logistical challenges, unexpected resistance, and the involvement of the United States gradually eroded these advantages. Trench warfare on the Western Front turned into a grinding stalemate, consuming millions of lives and draining resources. By the war's midpoint, it was clear that Germany's industrial and military might alone could not guarantee victory. Internally, the strain of total war destabilized the empire. Food shortages, civilian casualties, and economic collapse fueled dissent across all classes. Workers and soldiers increasingly demanded political reforms, peace negotiations, and the end of autocratic rule. Strikes, protests, and mutiny spread rapidly, signaling that the German population no longer supported the continuation of the war. Even loyal military units began questioning orders, demonstrating that centralized authority could no longer enforce obedience in the face of overwhelming societal pressure. In November 1980, the situation reached a breaking point. Revolution erupted in Berlin, and sailors mutinied in major ports. Workers' and soldiers' councils formed across the country, inspired in part by the Russian Revolution. Faced with internal collapse and external defeat, Kaiser Wilhelm II abdicated the throne, fleeing to the Netherlands. The German Empire, which had dominated European politics for decades, effectively ceased to exist overnight. Power shifted to the newly proclaimed Weimar Republic, signaling the transition from autocracy to fragile democracy. The Treaty of Versailles in 1919 formalized the empire's defeat, imposing harsh reparations, territorial losses, and military restrictions. Germany's economy was devastated, its borders redrawn, and its political institutions weakened. National pride was wounded, resentment festered, and extremist movements began to emerge, exploiting both economic hardship and perceived humiliation. The fall of the German Empire was not merely a military defeat, it was a total collapse of social, political, and economic structures that had once seemed permanent. Cultural and societal consequences were profound. Monarchic institutions, aristocratic privileges, and traditional hierarchies were dismantled or diminished. The population had to adjust to democracy under extreme economic pressure, hyperinflation, and social unrest. Veterans returned home, too, a country in chaos, while cities struggled to recover from the destruction and deprivation of war. The empire's collapse demonstrated the fragility of systems built on militarism, rigid hierarchy, and external expansion without adequate domestic stability. The German Empire's fall also highlighted the dangers of unchecked nationalism and militarism. Aggressive foreign policies, overconfidence in military planning, and disregard for diplomatic compromise had created conditions for total war. Once war became protracted, internal vulnerabilities surfaced, revealing the limits of autocratic authority. Society could not be controlled indefinitely through fear, propaganda, or military might. The end of the German Empire illustrates that internal cohesion, adaptability, and public legitimacy are as critical as external conquest in sustaining a state. Even decades later, the legacy of the German Empire's collapse shaped European history. The Weimar Republic struggled with instability, paving the way for the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi regime. National humiliation and economic distress became central narratives exploited by extremist movements. The lessons of 1980 remain relevant. Overreach, rigid hierarchy, and failure to address social grievances can precipitate the downfall of even the most powerful states. History demonstrates that power is temporary if it rests on unsustainable structures. The story of the German Empire's demise is a cautionary tale about the fragility of power. Military victories, industrial strength, and political dominance cannot compensate for internal discontent, economic mismanagement, or ideological rigidity. The fall of a state that once dominated Europe serves as a stark reminder that history favors adaptability, foresight, and the ability to respond to the needs of the people. The German Empire's end shows how quickly a seemingly invincible system can unravel when confronted with war, revolution, and social upheaval. Ultimately, the collapse of the German Empire in 1980 reshaped Europe, destroyed monarchic authority, and left a lasting imprint on global history. It illustrates that empires, no matter how powerful or technologically advanced, are ultimately accountable to the realities of human society, economy, and politics. The rise and fall of this empire remains a lesson in hubris, overreach, and the delicate balance between authority and legitimacy. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more historical deep dives. Question for viewers: could any modern nation avoid a collapse like Germany's, or are empires inherently fragile?